Hi, I'm Bonnie Strickler with Puff Incorporated, and I'm the chairman of the QAP committee for the SPFA PCP Certification program. Today we're having field exams here at Western Pacific Roofing, and I'd like to take you through each of the stations so you've got an idea of how we conduct those exams. So the first thing that happens when someone gets here is we have them come over to our registration desk and get signed in. So let's head that way. And as you can see, we've got some people signing in as we speak. While they're here, they're going to sign a release. They're also going to sign in and show their identification so we know that they have paid for and are the actual person taking the exam. And we're going to go ahead and give them a copy of their field exam form so they know what they're being examined on. And then we're going to assign a field examiner to them with a clipboard that has the same form. And then they're going to companion up and they're going to head to the next station. So let's go ahead and move on. We'll go to station number 1 first. Okay, we're starting out now with our roofing station 1. Station 1 also correlates with section 1 on the field exam form. So there's 2 items that we cover in station 1. One of the items is documentation. Every contractor needs quite a bit of documentation to do the job correctly. Some of the items that we ask for are safety checklists. We also have areas of the MSDSs and the technical data sheets, so they will give us all the documentation that's required under section 1, and the field examiner will mark whether they have that available or not. Then we turn to the proper PPE. We have demonstrated behind us here several boxes that have proper PPE in it and improper. So they have to reach into the box and pick out the proper PPE for the job. As you can see here, we have several respirators that all look exactly the same, but when in close inspection you'll realize that they may be missing safety valves or something's wrong on the interior. So they have to pick the proper PPE for roofing. And they do the same thing for their clothing, footwear, and obviously for their gloves as well. Example would be, this is a correct nitrile glove. However, very common in our industry, use a rubber-coated cotton-backed glove, but it's not acceptable for PPE for roofing. So let's move on to station 2. So part of our station 2 area is a ladder setup. So they'll go over here and demonstrate that we have several ladders set up, and they go over and pick the one that is adequate to be then staged over here. They pick the correct ladder, they have to set it up on the correct angle, and they also have to have it above the roof at least 3 foot, and they also have to demonstrate tying it off. So they have to demonstrate to us they've picked the proper ladder for installation on roofing. So let's move on. Okay. In station 2 in roofing, they have to demonstrate the proper fire extinguisher. They'll go through the box. Basically, some of the fire extinguishers are not fully charged. Some of them do not have an inspection tag on them. One of them does not have a pin. So they'll demonstrate the proper fire extinguisher for roofing. They'll also tell us where it needs to be set. Obviously, the fire extinguisher needs to be on the roof. They will also demonstrate to us different signs that would be posted in a roofing situation. Obviously, do not enter at own risk is not acceptable. Spraying in progress, do not enter is acceptable. And then you must not be in this area with a proper APR, which is air purifying respirators. They have to also demonstrate to us how to properly lock out and tag out a job. For safety reasons, they need to be able to cut all the equipment off and secure the on-off switch down with a lock and a tag. So they have to be able to demonstrate the lock and the tag. The rest of station 2 is up on the roof. Okay? We're actually on the roof now, and we're talking about pre-application before you do a roof. So one of the items that they have to do is set up proper fall protection. So there are extra stands here, there are extra flags here, and there's caution tape. They have to demonstrate they know how to set the stands up in the proper distance, and that they've obviously used the flags, not the caution tape, to demonstrate on these 2 sides. We're only working in this area. One of the other items they need to do is demonstrate masking. They will mask one of these vents off for us to show us that they know the proper masking technique, and we have the tape and the plastic for that. They will also demonstrate that they know how to give us a surface moisture detection. They will show us how to do that. They will also show us that they know the proper temperature of the surface before they spray. One other item is they have to tell us if this area is properly prepared to be able to spray to, and as you can see, there's obviously quite a bit of debris in this area, so they should identify that as not being properly prepared to spray to this area. Okay, so let's move on to the next station, station 3. We're at station 3 now for roofing. We have 3 separate guns here for them to demonstrate being able to rebuild those. They will disassemble them and reassemble. If these 3 guns are not of their choosing, they can bring their own, but they must demonstrate taking it apart and putting it back together. Then they move on into this stage. Now we're going to the inside part of station 3. The first thing they do is they demonstrate that they can look through all of their tools for safety and make sure that the plugs are not missing, that there's no sparred wires, and that the safety guards are missing. So they have to identify that there's a safety issue with their tools. They then describe to us how they keep from running out of material. They have to explain the procedure that they do not have material run out while they're spraying. They'll also show us that they have at least a 15-minute eye wash station on board. And that's it for this, and we'll move on over to station 4. In the background over there, you'll see that's where they'll stop to suit up to go into station number 4. They'll pick up their PPE there. They'll get their all of their clothing on, their gloves, and get suited up to come into our spray area. The spray area is over here. As you can see right now, a candidate is in the middle of his station number 4. He's just finished spraying, so that's why we're allowed in this area. This is another mock-up of where we would be spraying. When he gets here, he will be asked to demonstrate spraying 1 1/4 inches of foam, plus or minus a quarter. He'll also have to show us he has uniformity. He'll have to show us his details into a wall, details around a vent, a pipe, and a drain, and then also a gravel stop edge. The cardboard and tape is strictly for the purposes of being able to remove and put it back on for the next candidate. He starts out obviously making sure he has a proper spray pattern before he starts. And then as he comes in, he's demonstrated here that he's been able to spray to an edge. He's also demonstrated he knows how to properly trim that edge. And he's demonstrated there how he would spray up to a pipe. He's on this side showed obviously his area of spraying around a vent and then spraying up the wall. And then basically that shows his skill ability in that area. He will then use a depth probe to demonstrate that he has maintained the 1 1/4 inches that was required. And then after this is complete, he will then spray the foam that he's already sprayed with coating. We have an acrylic coating pump set up, and the coating will be sprayed over top, and he'll demonstrate that he has the proper wet millage in order to achieve the proper dry millage at the end of the job. So let's move on to station number 5. This is our station number 5 rig, and at this point we're going to determine how to properly start up, operate, and shut down the equipment, and also how to test. One of the items he'll have to do is know how to cut the generator on and the air compressor. He will demonstrate that through this area right here. Then we'll move inside.
What would you do differently? End of the day shut down, another job.
Once he's obviously finished starting up the equipment over there for our air compressor and generator, he'll demonstrate on this machine here how to properly crank everything up. He'll get the pressures up. He'll obviously have those pressurized and equal. He'll also show how to adjust the temperatures on the gauges. Then once he gets that up, he'll show us how to properly troubleshoot if he has any problem with an imbalance. What would he do to correct that? And then if he had an error code, he would show us exactly what he would do in an error situation. Once he's demonstrated all of that, he will do the reverse. He'll show us how to shut down the equipment for the day. He will obviously put the machine into park, and he'll cut all the valves off, make sure that all the materials are secured, again, cut off the air compressor and the generator and things of that nature. So he's demonstrated a startup, proper procedures of running, troubleshooting, and now the shutdown. So now we move to the last section, which is our testing. So here's where we start our station number 5, and this is our testing and repair area.